that's pretty much what the theory teaches. Theory. It's scientific fact, evolution. So why is it referred to as a theory? They need vast amount of time. Without vast amount of time, their theory completely collapses on itself. It's no different to a fairy tale. In fairy tales, you would kiss a frog and you'd get a prince. This is no different. You know? You have lots of this special magic super duper ingredient called millions and millions of years ago, in a land far away. Nothing smashed into nothing and created something, and then that something found someone to marry, and then that something found something to eat, and then, I don't know. But if you know it or not, that's what it teaches. You believe that it rained on the rocks for millions of years, which created some prebiotic soup. The soup came alive, and they evolved into fish, and then fish evolved into amphibians, and amphibians evolved into this, and they evolved into that, and they evolved into this, evolved into that, and we have you. But we don't have facts or evidence. It's just high definition, digital representation, digital 21st century brainwashing. But without vast amount of time, their theory looks very stupid. So let's go ahead and look if there's any evidence to suggest that we haven't been here for billions of years, but we've been here for thousands. If you add up the dates in the Bible, you're going to get roughly about 6,000 to 8,000 years old. So let's have a look at the evidence. What about the history of man? The written history of man only dates back to 5,000 years. Shocker. So the question is, if man has been here for millions of years, why aren't there any more records of man's existence older than 6,000 years old? You'd think we'd find some if we've been here for hundreds of thousands of years, a logical thinking human being. Anyway, what about the writing of man? The oldest writing of man only dates back to around 6,000 years old. So the question is, if man's been here for millions of years, why don't we have any older evidence of writing older than 6,000 years old? What about the age of the Sahara Desert? The age of the Sahara Desert is expanding and has been calculated to be about 4,000 years old, which just happens to be right about the time of Noah's flood. Question: if the Earth is billions of years, why isn't the Sahara Desert larger by now? What about the coral reef? The oldest known coral formation is about 4,200 years old, which is right about the time of Noah's flood. Question: if the Earth is billions of years old, why aren't there any coral reefs older than 4,500 years old? What about the oldest tree? The oldest known tree is the pine tree at about 4,300 years old, which again is right about the time of Noah's flood. So we'd expect to find a tree around that time. Question: if the Earth is billions of years old, why aren't there any trees older than 4,300 years old? Even that evidence itself, I think, is very powerful. That evidence is just amazing to me. But there's a lot more. That in itself. What about meteor dust? Micrometeor dust is composed of iron, nickel and silicate compounds and is continually entering our atmosphere. In fact, it has been measured that they are adding 25 tons to the Earth daily. Now here's the problem for evolutionists. Stop and think about it. If the Earth has been here for billions of years, then the amount of nickel in the ocean would be massively greater than what it is. The fact is, there is only enough meteor dust on the Earth to account for just a few thousand years of meteor dust influx. What about Earth's helium? Nobel Prize medalist and physicist Melvin Cook found that helium-4 enters our atmosphere from the solar and radioactive decay of uranium. However, his discovery presented a problem. If the Earth were billions of years old, our present atmosphere would contain about 1.4 parts per million of helium. But the facts show that the amount of helium-4 in our present-day atmosphere dates the Earth at less than 10,000 years. You know, there's no problem with that with a biblical account of view, but for evolutionists it's a major problem. What about Earth's topsoil? Calculations have been shown that it takes 300 to 1,000 years to build up just 1 inch of topsoil. Now here's the problem: the average depth of topsoil throughout the world is only about 8 inches, which means that Earth could only be a few thousand years old. What about Earth's erosion? If Earth was billions of years old and erosions had been going on for at least millions of years, stop and think about it. How could there still be sharp cliffs, let alone mountains? Why hasn't everything gone flat and been washed away? If the Earth has been under constant erosion for millions and billions of years, the fact is that Earth has really been here for billions of years, and the ocean floor would be covered by sediments from land erosion measuring 60 to 100 miles thick, and all the continents would be eroded away. Instead, we only find a few thousand feet of sediment, declaring that the Earth has only been here eroding for just a few thousand years old. About the ocean salt: today's ocean salt is about 3.6% salt, and they're getting saltier every day from the water containing mineral salts flowing off the continents into the oceans due to erosion. Now here's the problem: think about it. For those who want to believe that the Earth is billions of years old, there's not enough salt in the ocean. There's only enough salt for just a few thousand years old. What about star clusters? Star clusters contain hundreds of thousands of stars that are moving and are held together by gravity. And here's the problem: some clusters, the stars are moving so fast that they could not have been held together for millions and billions of years. They should have long since flown apart or unclustered themselves by now. Therefore, since we still have clusters of stars, use your head. The age of the universe should be measured in thousands of years, not billions of years old. They shouldn't be there. Supernovas: when big stars run out of fuel, they explode and become what were called supernovas. Now, according to astronomical theory, in galaxies our size, approximately 7,250 supernova remnants should be visible. But if we've been around for billions of years, however, if we use the creation age of the galaxy, we should expect to find between 125 and 200 supernova remnants. The actual number of supernova remnants visible from Earth is 205, which is very close to the creationist number. You know, way off what it should be for millions of years. It just lines up with 6,000 years old. About the existence of comets: the number of comets are decreasing due to the decay, and are continually disintegrating, and a number is known have broken up. Eventually all of them self-destruct within a relatively short period of time, to the point where it is believed that the lifespan of a comet lasts only about 10,000 years. Now here's the problem: if comets only last 10,000 years and the age of the universe is supposed to be billions of years, then why do we still have comets? The existence of comets shows us that the age of the Earth is measured in less than 10,000 years because we still have comets. The amount of hydrogen is constantly being converted into helium throughout the universe. Now is the problem: if the universe were billions of years old, there would be almost no hydrogen left. It should have long since disappeared by now. However, noted professor of astronomy Fred Hoyle revealed the universe consists almost entirely of hydrogen. Therefore, this too shows that the universe has to be still quite young. Planets' rings. The rings of Saturn and Jupiter are primarily composed of amino pebbles in various sizes. Now the problem we have with this is scientists are trying to figure out why them rings are still there. Why? Because if the universe has been here for billions of years, then they should have been evaporated by now. You know, they should have spread it out, but they're still there. They would have been destroyed by meteorites and expanded out. And if it wasn't enough for Jupiter's magnetic field, they should have swept them out by now. Furthermore, the rings of Saturn are still distinctly bright, with debris left behind by comets. Should have caused those rings to turn dark by now, but Saturn's rings aren't dark, they're bright, as though they haven't been around for very long. Planets cooling. Jupiter and Saturn are cooling off rather rapidly. In fact, they're losing twice as fast as they're gaining it from the Sun. Now here's the problem: think about it. If they were billions of years old, they should be stone cold by now, but they're not. They're piping hot, as if they haven't been around that long, just like a cup of coffee sitting on a coffee table. You know, if you come in and you see a cup of coffee and I say don't touch it, it's been there millions of years old, you grab it, it's cold. You know, it's quite clear that, you know, I don't know, these are still hot. they're not cold. They are hot, indicating that they've just, you know, the universe is young. It's not been here for billions. The appearance of Venus, there's so many more, but I'm going to be able to fit it into the video length. There's the appearance of Venus, the appearance of Mars, Sun's solar winds, the size of the Sun, isotopes on the Moon's distance. What else is there? There's the Earth and oil, precious gas, the magnetic field, Earth's spinning rate, and so on and so on and so forth and so on, proving that the Earth is young, not old. There we have it. Investigate it. Bible says 6,000 years old, and there's so much evidence that supports this, and there is no evidence to support that the Earth's old.
This monkey fish frog had butt sex with that monkey, and that monkey had a mutant retard baby that screwed another monkey, and that made you.